Carver, please.
Thank you, Chairman. This, to me, is all about a more ambitious security policy. It's all about more talk of more European Union. I've been elected to this place last year, and it strikes me that all we're getting is more and more Europe, less and less member states. And it's ironic now, of course, as we head into a national referendum campaign in my country, in the United Kingdom. We've got NSS, we've got SDSR, various security reviews and policies across member states. And isn't it ironic that EU expansion could actually be detrimental to regional security and possibly global security? I would like your opinion on what was said by my colleague over there, speaking about the various pillars of NATO, the US pillar, the European pillar. Well, as far as I'm concerned, NATO doesn't have any pillars. It is made up of sovereign states, and Article 5 of NATO, that Casus Foederis, surely gives the opportunity for members of NATO to decide what conflicts, what areas they want to get involved, as the French have done in the past, on national interest. And my concern, as we develop or as you, I say we, because I don't feel part of this place at all, as you seek to develop a strategic European policy in this area, I feel that is to the detriment of member states, and I'd like to hear your opinions on that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Of course, I won't try to answer every question individually, but I will try to respond to the main thrust of the questions to the extent that I can. Maybe we begin with this issue of whether or not the report calls for more Europe or less Europe. Actually, what the report says is that we need to maximize the effectiveness of what's being done already, not expand, maximize the effectiveness of what's being done already, and identify those areas where the European Union can make a credible claim to have a value added. This is what the report says, nothing else. If we turn to the issue of the relationship with NATO and the questions that were around it, and perhaps take a step back from that. What's happened over the past year or 2 years is we've seen in front of our eyes the extent to which the cooperative security order that we tried to create after the end of the Cold War is in retreat. With all our conventions, institutions, processes, it took 4 months to move from political crisis to major conflict in a key European country. Some of the things which were presented as major successes of the cooperative security order, the demilitarization of European security from the grotesque levels that it reached during the Cold War, are now presented as mistakes and weaknesses. So a key question is how we get back on the path of building a cooperative European security order, and it's obvious that that's a long-term objective. That's not something which is going to be accomplished in 12 months or 24 months. But it requires engagement with Russia. There's no way to do that without Russia being a part of whatever eventual agreed outcome is decided on. I'll come back to that in a minute. In the interim, when we accept that the cooperative security order is no longer making progress, it's in retreat, what do? Well, it's obvious that NATO is a key part of the European security system. It's the framework in which we coordinate our military affairs on a transatlantic basis, and we're going to need that in perpetuity. So there's nothing which precludes the effectiveness of NATO in the European Union also developing its capacities in relevant areas. And the decisions which were taken at the Wales Summit, including those on the Defence Investment Pledge, should be respected and implemented. It's clear. That was a decision that was taken by heads of state and government, and they should live up to what they promised. But it's not enough. Actually, what we need is a rather fundamental reevaluation of transatlantic relations exactly to provide this counter-narrative. The Europe-wide cooperative security order is in retreat, but within the transatlantic community, the European Union member states, NATO's allies, and the other countries who are willing partners we move on. We continue to make progress towards creating the type of security order we all hoped for at the end of the Cold War. At some point, the Russian colleagues will rejoin.